We're just going to wait on two more people.
Oh, sure. Okay. Excellent. You guys are waiting and waiting and disappointed.
I'm the Dean of the Division of Innovation, Online Education, and Student Success, and I'm very happy to be here over at our other campus. Today's a very special day. We decided to have an end of semester student success event, so we have a lot of wonderful people here who helped to create this day, very important day, and we have a wonderful guest speaker, Mr. Nynens, who is the Chairman and CEO of Wayside Technology Group, and he's here to speak to all of us today. So I just wanted to wish him, give him a warm welcome, and we can listen to his presentation.
I heard that we have success coaches in the room, so I said if you attend the presentation and afterwards you can tell your students, that's not how it is. Try to do good, try to do good. All right, so this is, the title is My Life is a Fairy Tale and So Is Yours. This is, by the way, the original Disney castle in Germany, the Schloss Neuschwanstein, which is close to Munich. It's beautiful if you go in real life. The story speak a couple of months in San Diego. I do entrepreneur talks back in Europe and here in University, Mostly, I like talking to students in schools in the next generation and try to help you guys. So I'm only here to give you some pointers that maybe could help you in your life. All right, how do you define success? What's success? Did you Google it? Oh. Did you Google me? Oh, you were laughing. I was like, how do we define success? How do you define it? Let me ask you. Hard work? What's success?
Success is being able to do what you want to do and be comfortable while doing it.
That's a great definition. A lot of people would say success is, what is success? Work the idea? Absolutely, right? A lot of people would say this. Right? Accomplishments, right? But a lot of people think this. The Kardashian ladies. If I would give you $5 million a year and say, go party every night, get drunk every night, a lot of people would think that's an awesome idea. I get $5 million too. You ask a lot of students like, I work with the students in Asbury Park, ask them, what do you want to do? How about if I give you $5 million? They're like, boom, awesome. I want to be in Jersey Shore, be famous, bomb, I get money, party every day, awesome. Have you seen what these husbands of these ladies do? They get themselves killed, checked in wherever, they turn into ladies, so what is going on? Right? This is what we think is happiness. We show them as like, that is what we want. And it's money. And most of you want money. I was also like, I wanted money. I didn't come for money, I'm like, I'm gonna get money, because then I'm happy. How many cups of water do you really need to drink to be happy a day? Not 500. But a lot of people get on this treadmill and never can get off. So another definition of success is, and I heard some of that here. Then I started looking like I'm going through it, and I'm like, what is some other people like? That cannot be just the end of it all. How about these people? Stephen Hawking, ALS, Bill Gates, Mandela, Gandhi, Mother Teresa. Why did they do that? Look at Bill Gates, the richest guy in the world. And all he's busy with is trying to eradicate diseases, trying to educate people, trying to help the next generation. Why? So that intrigued me, that question of like, why don't you just go hang out on a super cruise and do nothing? Right? You had Michael Dell, he was 28 years old. I mean, I met him at DUI, I met him. I mean, you have, I don't know how many billions. Why did you just go hang out and party? Why? Because we were taught that way, right? So what is it? That intrigued me, that question. So that's what I studied for. So then I came upon this guy, Bill Myers, and he interviewed Joseph Campbell, and that's this guy. He basically said, this is what we all live. Okay, you have a call to adventure. This is ours. That's why the hero with 1,000 faces, but that's also why my life is a fairy tale, but also yours. This is the story of everyone's life. In every story that you hear, whether religion or fairy tales or anything else, it always starts with like call to adventure. You have some help, you cross the threshold, you have a mentor, you have challenges, then boom, almost you die, you transform, you come back, and then you return and say, wow, I found something awesome. Here's my gift to the world. And then usually when you come back, people say like, that ain't so hard. That's what you found? So sometimes you come back and you think, I brought you jewels, and people think, I thought there was more to it than that. But that's the journey of that. If you don't believe me, these movies are all based exactly on that scheme. Star Wars started with that. Okay, that's the exact story of this. Right? But 8 Mile, 100% this. Catching Fire, the Hunger Games, those movies are exactly that story. Harry Potter, exactly that story. So, what is that? I started thinking about what do people do really wrong when you get that money or when you get in trouble? And I drive through this area, I'd never been here before. I'm like, what happened here? I don't know what happened. And the first time we drove through Asbury Park, all the nice homes on the shore, and then suddenly you come in Asbury Park, it's like the heart's blown out of it, like, what happened? I started reading about the history and about the racial riots in the 60s, and it's amazing. So what do people, like, how many times, like, I don't know, I'm weird, but I'm thinking, like, how many different ways can I screw up in life? And this is basically it. Lost, gluttony, that's my 600-pound life. My wife loves watching that. Right? Agree? But this is like, we look at these like, oh yeah, it's cool, yeah, whatever, dude. You're going to be fighting with one of these for your life. And I'm not kidding. You're going to be fighting with one of these for your life. In your life. You have people who have a normal job, they look good, but they get in love with like the unattainable person. And then they become envious. Suicides every day. So one of these are really serious subjects, and we really have to fight with them during our life. Fairy tales cover all of these, but they also show you a way out. Now, how many of you know fairy tales? What fairy tale do you know?
A million of them.
Oh, awesome.
Cinderella.
Oh, you know all of them? You read them?
Actually, our life study ain't fairy tale community.
Oh, awesome. Good. So we have a fan in the room. Anybody else?
Nobody else likes fairy tales?
Anybody read fairy tales? Whose parents read fairy tales to you when you went to sleep? You have some of the older folks. Anybody who's read fairy tales? Books? Let's show my hands. Who's read books? Now, I'm going to get back to this. So did you read the modern version or did you read the Brothers Grimm version? There's a huge difference there too. All right. But I'll tell you one. I'll tell you real quick, and then we'll go into the speech and see why I bring up this weird fairy tale and why it's related to all of us. All right, Hansel and Gretel. They live with their mom and dad close to the woods. They have no food. There's random food shortages. They have no more food, and the mother says, "Hey, buddy, we're going to bring the kids into the woods. Either we all die, or we leave the kids in the woods. We get back home, and we leave them there, and too bad." So the kids overhear their parents talking at night. Hansel and Gretel. So Gretel is all panicking. Oh my God, we gotta do something. Mom and Dad want to leave us in the woods. So Hansel goes out at night, gets some white pebbles in front of their door, goes back in, goes to sleep. Boom, both of them go out the next day. Mom and Dad bring them into the woods, but every now and then he drops a white pebble. So they say, "You guys go to sleep at lunchtime. Mom and Dad will be right back. We're going to cut some wood over there. We'll come back to get you." They never got them. But at night they woke up. Moonlight is shining. They see the white pebbles. Boom, they're back home. They come home and the mother is yelling at them, "Why weren't you at the place that we left you at? You guys moved." And the kids knew they didn't move, and they knew the backstory, but they're like, "Fine, at least we're back home." About a week goes by. Famine increases. They got to drop the kids in the woods again. They overhear them again. He wants to go downstairs, but the mother locked the front door, so you can't get out to get the white pebbles. So what does he do? He gets some bread. So he's like, "You know what? I'll do breadcrumbs. That's all I got. That's what I got to use." So he uses breadcrumbs. They go out. Well, what happens? They fall asleep. They wake up. The moon is up. What happens? The birds eat the breadcrumbs. They cannot get home anymore. They get lost in the woods for about 3 days. Then they see a bird, a white bird singing. They're singing, and that bird leads them to a little house of candy. And they get to the house, and they're so hungry, they're like, "Awesome, they eat the house." And they eat the window pane, and he starts eating the house. And then they hear a little voice of an old lady saying, "Who's that nibbling at my house?" They're like, "Oh, it's just the wind, it's not us." And they go, of course, the lady says, "But you don't have to eat my house, come in." So she gets them in, feeds them well, puts them to bed. Of course, she wasn't nice, she was a witch. She wants to eat them. So she puts him in a jail. She puts her to work, catching all the stuff and feeding the boy who wants to eat him. But they give her a chicken bone every day because she cannot see, because witches cannot see very well. So she gives him a chicken bone every day and goes, "Don't get fatter." So after about 4 weeks, witch is tired of this, says, "Oh, I'm going to eat him. Regardless if he's skinny or not, I'm going to eat this kid." Fire up the oven. She goes into the oven and she tracks the witch and she says, I can't feel inside if it's hot enough. I don't know how this oven works." So the witch goes, "Man, you're good for nothing. I'll show you how to do it." So she walks in front of the oven, and little Gretel pushes the witch in, closes the door, fire starts burning, the witch burns to death. They both get out and they find jewels in every corner of that house. And they leave with those jewels. They're like, let's get the heck out of here. Get the jewels, walk over, and they come across the water, and there is a white duck waiting for them. And Gretel says to Hans, we cannot both sit on his back. You got to sit on alone, because otherwise he's going to sink. He goes on the back of his, they go one by one across the water, and they come back home with the jewels, and they live happily ever after with their parents. Now, what the heck does that got to do with our lives?
You gotta go out there to get it.
You could say that. But what happens to all of us? And you think it's like, I started reading this, I had no idea that this was in the story. What happens to this? To most of us. We grow up, and then we leave for college, you leave for a job, and you go home and you're like, man, this furniture's gotta go, you guys gotta paint, you start criticizing your parents, and you come back every now and then. But you're kind of lost. You're kind of on your own. And in the 20s and 30s of our lives, and maybe later, some people never get out of the woods, you just start wandering. And then you see a house of candy. What do you think the house of candy is?
You just want to have one conviction.
Candy. Do you think it was just candy? Or was it maybe drugs, alcohol,
Oh, yeah.
money, consumerism, or anything like that? What happens? What happens with somebody who just stays at the house and eats and eats and eats? You can see them here on the street. You can see them in my town on the street. I can point at 500 of them. It's going to burn you alive. If you become an alcoholic and you stay at the house, it's going to kill you. If you just focus on one thing, you see the old ladies, right? They never want to get old. See the old guys, they never want to get old, right? They take human growth hormone, and it's like, we call them half duck, half ape, like, and stuff, and I was like, my God. No one ever tells them it doesn't look good. But they're there, go to Hollywood. Go there once, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, it's ridiculous, but they burn. No, they were attractive and when they were young, and they were great, and then they're not so hot anymore, and they're like, but I'm still me, it's still me. And they burn to death, and it's sad. So, in the woods, that's when you're in the woods. So I want to go through this. Nothing but most people are nothing on a tiny ship. Like you said, you got to go get it, right?
Yeah.
But what? What do I got to go get?
Things that you want in life.
Yeah, but what does it start with? What?
Starts with yourself first.
But it starts with money, right?
Yeah.
You go, tell me whatever, but I got some cold hard cash. And don't let anybody fool you, because people that come to you, talk to you, and go like, oh, follow your dream and stuff. And I talk to a lot of students like, I want to be interior designer, I want to do this. There's a lot of interior designers without a job. There's not so many nurses without a job. You could be an interior designer at night and a nurse during the day. You got to get money first. Now, the rich kids, they have an awesome, I hated them. They came to my school in BMWs and this house on my little bike. I still bike, by the way, bike to work. I love it. Which people don't get. I love biking. But I went there on my little bike. They were in the BMWs and the big things. They could fail 500 times. But guess what? I couldn't, and most of you cannot fail 500 times. Because mom and dad are not there to pick you up. Mom and dad might not even be in the picture. Right? So I knew I had to get gas. And let me tell you one thing. Not all rich people are happy. But all the poor people are unhappy. So don't fool yourself when people tell you like, oh, you need to follow your dreams. Don't, no. Usually when you follow your head, it doesn't end up so well. When you follow your heart. Okay? Follow your head. So anyway, we're in the woods. A lot of people are like tiny ships, because what they say is like you said, I gotta go get it. I want that BMW. Boom. I got the BMW. Now what? I gotta get a girl. Woo. Okay. I gotta get this. I gotta get that. And you just go, you're actually not going anywhere. And there's a saying here that says, if you don't know what harbor you're aiming for, any wind is the wrong wind. Right? You just go and you just like, I see this. Oh, great. All my senses are like, oh, I sniff some good food. Oh, let's go there. That's not how life is. So here's my question. Who here wants to die young, poor, obese, angry, unhappy, and sick? Anybody? So that was my question. And so, I tell my kids all the time, don't do the fire nap. I know it's funny for 2 minutes, but let's use our computer for good. So on a Saturday morning, I asked this question to myself and to our kids. And we started Googling this. Why is this not on the news? By the way, who's the smartest kid in New Jersey? You guys know who the most promising student is? Do you guys know? Who's the best violinist in New Jersey? Who's the most promising gymnast in New Jersey? You guys know? Who knows the latest tweet when Trump farted? We all know. Why isn't the news covering all this stuff that is awesome in the world? They only focus on one thing, and when you go with them, you do what the program that they want you to do. You go in a way that they want you to do. And when I talk to the kids in Asbury Park and they say, oh, here's just some rich white guy telling us what to do, go to hell, buddy. I tell them, you can walk out of class, you can go good, go hang, it's awesome. Do it. What's good with you? That's all good. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. The powers to be want you to do. It's fail. And there are institutionalized things in this country, and not only in this country, in the world, that they want to dream your dream, and you're going to follow that path. And that's the sad part of it, that you don't know. Like, it's like smoking. You're cool, because the commercial said the Marlboro man was on this horse smoking. It's all awesome. We were all smoking. Then you realize, I don't feel like the Marlboro man. I want to wake up puffing and hacking. And my friends really don't like to hang out with me because I don't smell like Marlboro Man. Apparently, I don't only look like him, I smell like him. It's terrible. So that's not on the news. But I Google it, and there's a lot of information here. So out of this country, right? First of all, where are you oldest in the world? Japan, 85 years. How old? What's the average life expectancy in the U.S.? Anybody know?
72.
72. We got 72. Who's got higher?
80.
68 or 80?
80.
65.
60. We got lower. We got 65. We got 80?
54.
54. Ooh. Average. I'm talking average. All right? So I think it's fair to say we don't have a clue. Like, it's somewhere old, but we don't know. All right? It's about 78 years, and it's about 5 years older than 10 years ago, 5 years older than it was prior to that. It's about 78 years old. But we're not the oldest folks in the world. Now I want to be the oldest folk in the world. I want to be healthy and living a long life, happy life. If I don't even know how many, on average, people, what age they get to, what am I actually going for? What do I got to go get? I don't know what to get. I just have a vague dream, right? This is also the reason why a lot of people who win the lottery, 5 years later, they're worse off than before they won the lottery, which is insane to me. But it's true, because they just have a vague idea about happiness. They don't know what to do with $1 million, or 2, or 5, or 10. What is that? Yeah, exactly. No, well, they do invest it with their friends who's got a surefire, I got this, man. Just give it to me, I got you. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, life expectancy. In the U.S., we're not doing so good internationally, but we're on average, we're kind of okay, 78 years old. In the Netherlands and Germany, it's 82. Hey, that's 4 years. A lot can happen, a lot of happiness can happen in 4 years. But 78 years on average in the U.S. Where in the U.S. do you think people die earliest? Who can give it up for Northeast? Do we think Northeast people die earliest? I got a lot. All right, who thinks West Coast? West Coast people die earliest. They're crazies in California. Who thinks? Oh my God, they're all healthy. They live long? Early? All right, who thinks the Midwest? People up here? Anybody there dying early? South here? Also some people, most of you think North, right? Now let's go through this. I have a couple of slides to show you. And this is public information that I do not understand. That there's one thing we got taught in the Netherlands, like how old are you? How healthy? That's public service. You got like what, 5 million reporters in the US? And none of us really know this stuff, which is amazing to me. By the way, another one, I'll do another one real quick, then we'll move on. This is life expectancy by coming. This is where they got, by the way, you don't see it because some of the colors are off here. This is where you die early. Look at that. Now, here's so I talked to my kids about that, right? I got 4. My oldest was 18 when we started talking about it. I go, what do you think that is? Look at that. Medium household income. Boom, poverty, you said it right there. This, and again, it's not as pronounced on this because of the colors. This is where people earn less. Rate of obesity. Boom, right there. Look at that, the difference between these states, the coastal states, and amazing, right? Diabetes. Look at this.
Diabetes.
Murders. Murders by state. You want to have murders by state? Look at this. Now, what do they say? It's got nothing to do with income. It's got nothing to do with the way you were raised. It's got nothing to do with education level. It's got everything to do with order and discipline. All we need to do is put them in jail. And they're good, because they don't get order and discipline. Well, let me tell you, these prisons here are run as companies. They're chock full. I visited some of them. Not so hot. It's got nothing to do with order and discipline. It's got everything to do with education and giving people a chance to succeed. That's what it has everything to do with. But that doesn't sound so cool because that's not a quick solution. Look at this cancer. I mean, why do people have cancer here? These people don't. What are they different kind of people? What is that? Why is that? Never see this on the news. Painkillers by state. You want to know that the U.S. is 4.5% of the world population, and we use 80+% of the opioids, the pain medication. In Asia and in Africa, they cannot get pain medication because it's non-existent. And here we use 80% of the world. And kids in my kids' high school, they think it's cool to do a Percocet, and then they go to Oxy, and they think it's cool. Are you crazy? And heroin in the Netherlands, we were taught in the 70s, was a huge heroin epidemic. We saw them on the street. Needles, they die. Here, like, you don't see it. And the kids are raised, like, in the Netherlands, by the way, marijuana street. So Amsterdam, everybody smokes, it's fine. They did that because heroin was such an epidemic. And they said, marijuana is going to be legal, semi-legalized.
Yes, it is.
And we're going to take all the money with the tax, so we're going to fight hard drugs. And they provide free heroin now to all heroin users, just to keep them going, because they're a lost case, and that's the best thing that you can do. Here in the U.S., it's a complete epidemic. And what states do they use that most? Again, the same states. Do you think they just get more prone to using painkillers than other people? No. It's all in those states. So teenage pregnancy by county. Look at this. Do you know that the U.S. is the only industrialized country that is 5 times as high as any other industrialized country? So a divorce rate, this I thought was funny. This is the Bible Belt. They need redemption. Wow, you go here, all they got is churches, but I don't know if it's working. Right? So, fruit, this means non-existent. So, it's all public information. Meat consumption, guess what they eat most meat? They got cancer and diabetes and they die young. And fruit, they don't eat fruit there. It's not cool. Doesn't look cool on a pickup truck. I gotta be cool. Eat big red steaks. What happens to it? So, that's what people do when they see that house of candy. That's what people do. You get lost. So, again, you get in the woods, you leave, your parents forget everybody. I'm going to do my own thing. Okay? So Hansel, he goes, and you know this, my one soulmate. He is smart because he uses pebbles, but he lives next to the woods. He knows what's in the woods, animals. And why did he even throw down the breadcrumbs? That's what we do. Because I failed, and you know what I do? What do you think you do when you're 18? I was in, you saw it in the write-up, I did taekwondo. I was in the fight team, go beat somebody up, because I'm unhappy. I start drinking, because I'm unhappy, and then somebody else is gonna get it. And that shit goes downhill. It's very true. You come home, daddy's not happy, boom. A lot of my friends, I come home, we sit at the dinner table, mom was making dinner, dad comes home, didn't have a good day apparently. He goes, where's my soup? And she goes, oh, she said, honey, here's your soup. Smacks her right in the face and says, I ask questions around here. I was 8. I thought that was normal. I don't know what I'm supposed to think when I was 8. That's normal in my life. That's how daddies do this. Right? You don't know that. So what do I do when I'm angry? Do the same thing. That's what we do here. Right? There's only one way, because that's the way that they showed you. That ain't, trust me, that ain't the right way. So anyway, uses that. So what happens if you do this stuff wrong? You just go back home. You crawl into you're like, forget it. The world's too difficult. I'm going to hang on the porch with my buddies. This is my street. No one gets into my street. We protect our street. I hang with my folks. Done. You regress. You don't grow as a human being. You stay the same person. There's no chance for growth. So you have to go out into the world. You have to do it. Just like the Hunger Games, she didn't want to, she was selected, she's thrown in there. You have to do it. Harry Potter didn't want to do it, has to do it. Jesus didn't want to do it, have to do it. Every religion, every story about the Buddha, every single story is like people didn't want to do it, but guess what? You're thrown out there. So, little stuff about my life, lost in the woods. What happened to me? A couple of things that I really thought, I really wanted to be honest with you guys and said, like, what are the instances in my life that I really thought I read these fairy tales? By the way, I never knew any of this stuff until like 10 years ago. I started really getting into it. Via little people showed me a couple of books, and I was like, this is amazing. I gotta read more of this. And I thought there were gold in my life. So I started reading this, and I didn't know about these fairy tales. But then, like you, I started reading them and reading them. I'm like, this is amazing. It speaks to me. I understand this language. Because it helped me. So there were 2 instances in my life that for me, I said, because you always come at a fork in the road. And when you're young, you don't know this. But I beg you, if you think it's cool to do crazy stuff, look ahead. Where's the 80-year-old that beats up everyone? He ain't alive anymore. He's drinking himself to death. That's the reality. Right? You see these people smoke. It's all the cool stuff. And by the way, I go to Las Vegas a lot. I have to go there because I'm in the computer industry, and I go next week again. I fly in on Tuesday, I fly out on Thursday. I've been to Las Vegas so often, and you know what? What's a sad moment? Where I'm standing in the club, and it's dark, and it's like, okay, great. And I realize I'm the oldest person in the club. I'm like, you cool? And I'm like, I'm out of here. This is stupid. Right? So now I go to bed early, I just get out of there. It's not my thing anymore. There is a time when it comes to when all the cool stuff that you do is no cool anymore. Now, I'm not saying doing the cool stuff, because getting drunk with my friends and hanging out, it was awesome. But there's a time and wait for that. It's not continuing on. So what were the 2 things in my life? First thing is, I go out, this guy in Beaumont. I go out, a guy crosses my brother. He was with 2 friends, we were with 4 friends. I got angry, got into a fight, not with this guy, it took another guy, but it's a super sad story. I got into a fight with him prior to the night. We come back later, we all go drinking, and my friend kicks this guy in the head with the metal shoes that we were all wearing.
Steel toe.
Kept kicking him in there. I pulled him off, and I said, dude, don't do that, man. He's done. Because when he was down, we didn't fight with screwdrivers, so he was down. He's good. But he ended up in a coma for a week. And then the next day, they have in the newspaper, there were 4 guys with black t-shirts saw it, and 4 guys were looking for 4 guys. I knew who it was. It was me, my brother, and our 2 friends. And I decided at that moment, I'm like, and I knew this was going to be real legal issues. So I'm like, what do I do? And I didn't talk to my family. I just laying there at night. And if you ever wonder, by the way, hey, does hell exist? Hey, Dad, does hell exist? Does heaven exist? Do something stupid to try to sleep at night and see if hell exists or not. Hell is so real. Because it's your own hell. So don't, and by the way, that's what the Bible is talking about, your internal experience, not some, crazy place. That's what they mean. And I decided to go to the cops. And my friends went, and I told them the story, what happened. And I got off, and my brother got off, and the guy who kicked him went for 6 months into a youth facility, and he came out. He went on to become the largest drug king in the south of the Netherlands, my friend. He's serving right now, 15 years. My brother didn't do so well, and my other friend is also still there. And I decided at that point, like, I gotta get out of here. I wanted one thing, to be free, to no longer hear the kicking and screaming in my neighborhood. I wanted to be out. Mostly I wanted to have a house that's not an apartment. I don't know why, but I just wanted quiet. When I was studying, that nobody was yelling or kicking or screaming. I just wanted to be alone. I wanted no more chaos, and I decided that's not going to be my life. I don't want that. Which wasn't really easy, by the way, because your friends come knocking on your door and like, hey, bud, we're going to go out. And I ain't riding tonight. I'm just staying alone. I got to study. Jesus, man. But I did taekwondo and I was pretty good at it. So they're like, it gets crazy because they used to call me the Hulk because I went crazy. So I like, oh, he does get crazy, but he's a women. Leave him alone. So they kind of started leaving me alone. So I go off to a college that I could afford, which was 10 miles away, so I could ride there with my bike back and forth. And then I started living there. As soon as I had a little bit of money, I started living there. Get out of that environment. I started living there. So my brother and my good friend decided that they missed me, and I had fun as a student, and they didn't. So they decided to steal the car of the neighbor of this friend. Oh my goodness, steal the car. Car of the neighbor of this friend. And the neighbor saw them, of course, stealing the car. They come to the bar. I got it, we're going to drive back. I drove back with them. We ended up in the ditch. And I told them at that time, I'm out. I'm 100% out. It's not my thing. And I started going. So then I leave that and I go, okay, what do I got to get? House of Candy. I went to the House of Candy. Started working hard. You make money. What do? Start drinking beer a lot. Start drinking wine a lot. You buy this. I thought this picture of the boat was so funny. I bought a big boat. And I said, I gotta put this on. So anyway, that's it. What's yours? That's what I would like to ask all of you. You go out there in the woods. Maybe you're still lost in the woods, but maybe you already start nibbling away at something that relieves your tension, where you're like, okay, that's the easiest for me. What do I do? What do I want? And ask yourself, is that really something that I should be going after? In my journey, I found this book, Viktor Frankl, and he was a Jew who got arrested and thrown in a concentration camp. And he survived. It was like 4% that survived. And he wrote a book about why he thought that he survived and what the man's search was for meaning. And he said, if you can't find that deep sense of meaning, most people distract themselves with pleasure. If you don't know what that means, watch the Kardashians again. All right? So then, the purpose of life. What is the purpose of life? It's to really live a life of purpose. That's what that means. I struggle with that a lot. I'm like, okay, what is that? Well, for me, it was burning the way. I started in the library. I still had to take my little bike. You guys can just go to your computer, boom, boom, boom. I had to go to the library and ask if I could please come in. Start reading this book. And then I said, like, who's the smartest thinker? I don't know. I had no frame or anything. I'm like, okay, let's read Plato, The Complete Works, which I loved, by the way. I loved it. I got it. I think Today's Day Symposium is my most favorite chapter in this book. I love it. It spoke to me. And I started reading these books, the Bhagavad Gita, the journey of the guidebook of Gandhi, and also of a lot of Buddhists, Dhammapada, and the Upanishads, the Songs of the Gods. It's amazing books, for me at least, for me. I started getting into Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth, who I'm sure at least one other person knows in this room. And then the uses of